Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Newsbeat Nightly. All right, I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. It's been a very uninteresting week in trading, to say the least. A couple things working here and there, but pretty much, the game plan was to take it slow. That was really the number one thing to be aware of, is that they're slow trading and that you shouldn't really push very hard in a market like this. So with that being said, yeah, we had a nice little forex trade. It's funny because I was dealing with like a bunch of little losses, and multiplicative for my size, the down move and my losses sound a little bit scary to some people. So like if I take a 3 standard lot trade, for example, and you see a bunch of them, and let's say I'm down like $1,600. That doesn't sound like a lot of money, but when you multiply 1,600 times 15, all of a sudden you're dealing with a much larger number, like 24,000, for example, which is a lot scarier than 1,600. However, we were able to really just pinpoint this one trade that just made it all back in the months, and that's really, I think, where our consistency comes. That and if you remember when we were down a little, and remember this forex really ends up being like 2 to 7 steps forward depending on the month, and like 1 step back, and that's what it really feels like for me in our forex. So and I was telling you guys, like, because I was making a bunch of like very minor loss trades, like small winner, small loser, small loser, small loser, small winner, small loser, loser, like that, and it just felt a little unbefitting of the strategy, especially after the type of trades we were catching last month. So went ahead and we caught this Euro Great Britain pound and just made like all the money back on just one simple trade with a very tight stop loss. And I'm telling you, and just as I told you when we were down before we caught this trade, just stay the course. Like, I know a lot of you guys weren't worried, but it was a little worrisome to see, even though our stops were like super tight and we got stopped out a few times. It was a little bit worrisome, I think, when you saw the strategy just like get stopped out like that. The market was really weird. Not to make excuses, the market was really weird, and there's a lot of geopolitical things going on, which obviously affect currency prices. But just like that, we're right back, just like that, with one trade. And the thing is, we're going to be right more often than we're wrong, which is funny because that statement would actually be untrue this month, considering if you just look at the number of losses you have taken, if you followed all my trades, you would notice that you have more losers than winners. And that's a little weird. And you're like, really? But you'll notice that your P&L is probably positive or flat. That's, I will say that's a little weird. Not that your P&L is positive or flat. That should be generally consistent month after month after month. I would be shocked if I have one down month next year in Forex trading. If I have one down month, I'd be like, really? That'd be weird. Didn't see that coming. And granted, it's trading. Anything can happen, but I just need you guys to understand, when it comes to a sample size of any strategy, not just this one, that I really want you to think of, how will this perform over 100 trades, 200 trades, 300 trades? You can never micromanage in between, because funny things can happen. Just like if you took a pair of dice and you kept rolling the dice, and pretty much I tell you, if you roll between a 2 and 9, you win, and if you roll a 10, 11, 12, you lose. There will be times where, you roll a 10, 11, or 12 like 5, 6 times in a row. You'll be like, oh, whoa, what's going on here? But just stay the course. And I know, I am extremely confident that you are going to be very happy. So we made it all back. One nice little Euro Great Britain pound trade. I'm already writing some of the pitch lines for the new course, which is interesting, considering I don't really know how to pitch our market well. So we'll see how that one turns out. All right, so nonetheless, let's just get into what we're watching here for tomorrow. We do have a few names. I'm going to just go ahead and email you members out this game plan and forex list right now. And click. It's in your box. If you're on YouTube, I obviously don't have your email or phone number, so you could feel free to hit print screen now if you wish to copy these trades. Okay. So let's start off, ladies and gentlemen, with VRX. You know, probably the best call that Citron ever made, bearishly. And this is what really put him on the map, is this trade. But let's take a look here at this beautiful pop-up in VRX. And if you remember back in right before December came in, there was this little story in the Wall Street Journal saying Inside Valiant's efforts to be a normal drug company. And there's a Wall Street Journal article basically showing how they're, you know, taking care of all their debt problems and whatever, which Citron was initially bearish on. And I just want to mention, you're coming up to very interesting levels. I would highly doubt that VRX doesn't shoot through $20 tomorrow, short of like an extreme negative sector play or market play. You know, let's say, all news aside, I think VRX, there's a great chance we pop through $20 tomorrow. I want to mention that you have an A+ trigger, a place where you're guaranteed algorithmic volume tomorrow at a certain level if and when that level hits. That level is $20.10. Right over here, going back to November 4th, 2016, a break of 2010 gets you 21 and a quarter. That would be a very big move for VRX. I love the pop up here. I'm watching it on the radar as a result. I'm bringing up Mark again. Last time I started talking about Mark, it was $4.81, and I mentioned it very bullishly, and the stock ran to $9.79 after I mentioned it in a matter of 7 trading days or 6 trading days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trading days. So that was a very interesting call. I'm mentioning it again here because I see the volume coming up here again. I like this little falling wedge breakout that happened here on Friday. I think we could get follow through to the upside. I would not be surprised whatsoever to see Remark Media over $10 tomorrow or this week. Just putting it out there, putting those numbers out there, just my thoughts. Now remember, these are just my thoughts. It could come out, some analysts could come out and say Remark Media is worth $1 and the stock can plummet, and in which case I'll ignore it and not trade it. So you have to still be smart with all these plays, and you have to look at them. But I think you guys realize the uncanny abilities of this community to choose names. Next on my list is Overstock. Hey, look at Overstock. Remember this name we were calling at $29 and change? Ran all the way up to 65, pulled all the way back to 41, and now I'm mentioning it again at 45.08. Morgan Stanley said they want to take a piece of this company, and they reported that they already have an 11.4% stake in the company. So when I told you, like, this is institutional buying, if you remember, our call back here was there's institutional buying here, and we were calling it, and I was like, guys, this is not a robot. This is like some hedge fund, some firm buying up the shares. It was. It ended up being that this was largely, in my humble opinion, due to Morgan Stanley just buying I mean, they bought 11%, 11.5% of the company. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of shares when you think about it. So just looking at it from that perspective, not surprising. Finally, we find out who it was. I think the same thing is going on here, by the way. You want to, you know, never Captain Hindsight here. Stitch Fix, name that I'm very bullish on, as I was telling you, swinging, you know, large position for myself in Stitch Fix. And I was mentioning that there's a good chance that us and our community are holding a tremendous stake of the float out there. Our community is probably holding 10% of the float of this company. I'm taking a guess. I'm making up that number. But when you do the math, I'm probably not too far off. I could be under or overshooting it by a little, but we're not too far off. people in this room, we have massive stakes in this company. And I'll tell you that when I come out and I highlight a name like that, we have hedge funds who follow us here in our community, and they follow us religiously because one of the beautiful things about a hedge fund is they know how to, God, I'm not supposed to use this word. Let's see, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? They can cut through all the, looking for a better word for BS. They could cut through all the crap out there. If that's nice enough of a word. They could see through all the crap out there, and they know who's valuable and who's not. And we're fortunate enough where they feel our room is valuable. And from the people I talk to in there, they're pretty much telling me that they're on board with this. They're on board with this. And I put a $30 target. I put it out day one of the IPO. It's trading higher. It closed at $15.15 at day one. That's when I started talking to you guys about it here on the nightly. If you're a member of the room, I was actually talking about it intraday that day as well. And what can I say? We're doing phenomenal in this name. We did hit all-time highs on Thursday, as we did break $25 here. I still, in my humble technical opinion, I do believe that there is a good chance that we see $30, and that's pretty much what I'm leaning towards here. You know, anything can happen. You know, in any company, I don't have to go into the discrepancies of the unimaginable, but I don't see any reason for this stock. And $30, by the way, is my first initial target. Please understand, I don't think it hits $30 and be like, okay, that's it. You have to remember, you know, every target I give is a first target. Like on Remark Media, for example, when we were talking about it here, and I said it could get to $6.5, $7 when it closed at 481, and it got to $6.5, $7 on 4 trading days later. At that point, I mean, I said there was a good chance we get to 9 and whatever, and you know, and then it did get to 9, and then I said, maybe it could get to 10, and then it didn't get to 10, and you know, now I think, you know, it could still get to 10. So again, initial target should be something where I feel it's really easy if you're long something from a good price to really start talking about these targets and be pretty vicariously casual with it. I think you could buy a stock at $5 and say, all right, I have an initial target of 7. And then if it hits 7, you could sell it all out. And if you didn't and you held some, and you could talk, hey, maybe it gets to 8, maybe it gets to 9. I think that's totally logical with some of these moves and some of these targets we put out. So you'll see a lot of them work out really well. So going back, what name was I covering? Oh, Overstock is again Morgan Stanley came out with an 11.4% stake. I'm going to give you guys an A+ trigger at $51.48. There's no reason why this shouldn't gap up tomorrow pre-market in a big way. Hopefully it remains underneath 51.48 and we get that A+ trigger for a move to 59.60. That's a tremendous level right here. You'll have a ton of algorithmic volume if that level hits too. Inevitably, you will have a lot of volume in Overstock in the pre-market tomorrow. See how it's so easy to predict based on news? You'll see it. How do you know tomorrow's pre-market volume, Mark? I don't, but I know it's going to be damn relatively high compared to normal. So you will see that tomorrow. So, okay. Watch Overstock is my game plan. This is my game plan here. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about, you know, Oscar de la Hoya Pharmaceuticals, or La Jolla Pharmaceuticals. I used to love that boxer. Wonder how he did. Used to watch him when I was in high school. Oscar de la Hoya. This is Mexican boxers are the best in the world, if you ask me, especially at their weight class. Nonetheless, I haven't watched a boxing match since the Floyd Mayweather fight versus McConnor, nonetheless, La Jolla Pharmaceuticals here got a bit of a downgrade They initiated a pivotal clinical study last week. Morgan Stanley downgraded it, but, analysts believe that the pricing and sales estimate of their drugs are at risk, dropped the target to 20 from 36. Tremendous cut there at JP Morgan. I'm looking for a follow through from Friday's low, $26.71. So, very simply put, that is what is on my radar for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. If you're on YouTube and you wish to copy my Forex and or game plan and or both, just simply hit print screen and you have all that information in front of you. If there's any questions I can answer in my room now, I'm going to go ahead and answer those. If you're answering on YouTube, once I'm done with the room, you can email me and have your questions answered here live right now. Just email mark.melnick at t3live.com. I think I want to change my email just to melnick at t3live.com. I think that'll be much easier. I don't like dots in an email. That's kind of annoying, right? Nonetheless, that's what you'll have to type in if you wish to email me. Let's go over some of the plays. Hey, biker. Tesla. Wow. And let me add to your conviction, and that's one of the things that I think you'll find certain traders find very valuable, that they have their own ideas, but I can add to the conviction. You broke out through descending resistance for the first time since November 17th. Not a long time ago, but you are breaking out. You're above the exponential 8 and 21, something you haven't been able to do while breaking descending resistance since here. So you have a lot of algorithmic things working for you on this idea. You can have longer term trend line resistance breaks like right over here. And you are dealing definitely with an inside candle, meaning Friday's low and high did not break Thursday's lower high. I think there's a great chance you move here to the upside. Let's see what our futures are looking at currently. Let's see. Everything is up. Slightly up at the moment. So we'll see if we get a gap up tomorrow. Tesla's definitely, with this market move recently, has been a very beaten up name. I know that sounds weird, but when I tell you Tesla hit an all-time high of $389.61, or let's just call it $390, I mean, the stock fell all the way down to $292 from $390. So it dropped almost 100 points from September 18th to November 2nd. And now it's just slowly grinding up a little, and it's still well off the all-time high. I think this is definitely one to watch. I like what you're watching there. Good evening, Robert. Good evening, Pablo. CHFS, nice action after hours. Yup, jumped all the way to 404. That one might move tomorrow. And of course, Robert, you're going to get the real volume if you can break $4.90 tomorrow. Definitely something to watch. It's a good look there. Maybe catch that quick scalp. Oh, I wasn't around, Pablo, so not me. It was actually Morgan Stanley, not Merrill Lynch, but yeah, 11.4% stake. That's correct. Hey, Peter. Hey, Bubbles. Hey, Priyanka. You tried to get over some... okay, we'll be watching it tomorrow, Priyanka, for sure. Barbara's asking me if I could tell my 9/11 story today. I did promise you if you asked me again, I would do it, so I will. Mark, will overstock work if Bitcoin goes into a bear market? That's an excellent question. Depends, I guess, what you consider a bear market. If Bitcoin drops 20%, do you consider that bearish? If Bitcoin goes to 20,000 and then drops down to 16,000, is that a bear market for Bitcoin? What if it drops from 20,000 to 10,000? Is that a bear market? I mean, it's just so difficult based on the recent run in this thing. I mean, look, if Bitcoin went from 1,000 to 20,000 in a matter of like 30 years and then it dropped to 16,000 in 1 year, yeah, that's a bear market. But you have to realize when something goes from 10,000 to 20,000 and drops to 15,000, I look at it and I say, you lost 25% of your value, but you're still bullish. So that's very hard to say. I do think there's going to be a lot of trading in it. I do think the higher price, I think it's more not the price of Bitcoin. I think it's the hype of Bitcoin. So even if we go into a bear market with Bitcoin, as long as it's hyped up, I think it will still be good for a lot of these crypto companies. I'll tell my 9/11 story at the last part of the broadcast. Let's do the same on Stitch Fix and Sale. Yeah, so obviously you guys know I like this, and obviously you guys know I like this. And again, I'm going to be loading more shares into this Sale Point Technologies. Again, I'm approaching it as long-term swing. I like everything about this company. It's, in my opinion, in my head, there's over a 98% chance of this working just based on my own personal analytics. Does that mean anything to you? Probably it shouldn't. I mean, for me, it's just how I view the stock. So we'll see. Thoughts on Costco pre-earnings? Do you think they'll sell the news? Possibly short entry. I mean, hate to say I've been bullish on Costco even after the whole Amazon fiasco where they just started selling it off, and I basically said the same thing as I did about all these other grocery stores and like a Sprouts Farmers Market. And I said I'm bullish. There's no reason why this stock shouldn't be over $200 with the way the market's been moving. And after it bottomed out at 151, it climbed all the way back up to 191, and it looks very bullish here in the setup. I can't tell you how earnings will or will not do. The setup looks phenomenally bullish. I have no opinion currently on the earnings, but I'll definitely look at it more deeply tomorrow. Conor McGregor. That was it. Conor McGregor, right? Not McDavid. What do I think about buying TWX calls expire? I have no opinion on TWX. I made like a little bit of money on it, and then I ended up chucking it, as you guys remember, in the intraday. So I ended up giving up on this one for a small profit. What do I think is a good price to buy CBI tomorrow? For me, myself personally, if I was looking to long CBI, I would look at the level 1745. I think something's going to go on with CBI that's tremendous this week. I think you guys do not take this one off your radar. Something is going on that the public is not very well aware of. In my humble technical and humble experienced opinion, something is going on with this company that not many people are privy to. We're not privy. We don't know exactly what it is, but something is up with this company, could potentially explode this week. Yes, CBI. Write that down. Keep that one on your radar. With all the activity we saw in the options, something is up. Okay. Well, that's maybe bubbles. Speculation on your behalf, and sound makes sense to me. How high do I think GME can go? Considering I'm like a perma bear, I basically feel about GME like you do on Netflix. I just feel like this company is like just going to go out of business eventually. Remember, I was bearish for a very long time at much higher prices. I don't have a good answer for that one, how high this one could go. Snapchat, another company I'm bearish on, but the difference is you're dealing with a company that may be worth the speculation. Now, even though I don't like the owners of the company, and I think they're a bunch of, buffoons, I will say here, this Snapchat might be worth a trade higher because of this setup here, and the setup is beautiful. So for me, I mean, I could see Snapchat getting to like 16 bucks per se, which, believe it or not, is a very big move from where it is. Hard to say, Barbara, on the Bitcoin question. Mazer Robotics bearish. Looks like it wants to head lower. I see it gapped up a little. Perfect spot for me to short it tomorrow would be 58.09. I wouldn't hold my breath. I think it breaks down before it gets there. Mazer Robotics very bearish. Red Hat also looked bearish to me, but this one is actually leaning up. Still a name I wouldn't go long. Tomorrow you have a key line in the sand, $125.67. Below it bearish, above it might be a turnaround. Starbucks, interesting. Best long level for me would be down tomorrow at 56.84. Breakout would be through Friday's high on Starbucks. Bullish. Alta Salon, also bullish. I can't buy this one with this setup unless it plummets to $195.55 or like 30 points lower. I don't see myself being able to buy this one. Bullish though. UNH, confusing because you put in a bear flag with a bullish falling wedge and it resolved bullishly. I have no idea on this name. Can't really comment much beyond that. I don't have any conviction. GlaxoSmithKline, trying to break out here. Just watch it tomorrow and make sure it could hold above 35.06 if you want to remain bullish in that one. EQR, it's a REIT. I mean, do event, I don't know. Looks bearish to me. I mean, I wouldn't trade it personally. I don't see it unless you're long-term swinging it and you want to collect the dividend. Whole different story. But if you're looking to like trade it for a bounce, sure, you could play it versus 64.96, and hopefully it grinds up a little and retraces a little. I could see that happening. I'm not crazy about the setup. Allstate Insurance, hey, they got a member really beaten up after all the natural disasters in the United States between Texas and Puerto Rico, now California. Looks still bullish overall. True support tomorrow. 101.43 and all. GPN, that's Global Payments Incorporated. Bearish setup here, trying to break out through moving averages. Looks bearish to me. I would look to short it versus 101.49 personally. And Burlington Coat Factory, or Burlington Stores rather, which owns Burlington Coat Factory. Bullish. Wow. Breakout level 114.99. I believe that's the all-time high. It is right over there. Bullish on Burlington Coat Factory. Oh, you get your clothes tomorrow from Stitch Fix? See, so it's kind of funny. So if you guys are listening on YouTube, Pablo is ordered some men's clothes from Stitch Fix, and I bought it because I thought they catered to the women so well, and you know, for women to have, you know, clothes they like being sent to them constantly in the mail seems like a home run situation. They do sell men's clothes as well. I was a little skeptical about it because, you know, there are a million different guys here. I'm generalizing. The majority of guys I know are very willing to go online and buy some underwear or socks or sneakers or shorts, or it's like, okay, I need a pair of pants. All right, I know my size. I wear XL pants. Why? Because I'm a big dude. I'm a big dude. I'm like almost 6'4". So for me, like, I wear long pants. Like if I wear a large, like they won't fit me. Like my ankles will be hanging out. So I need XL, like in my clothes. I mean, men's clothes actually, outside of like buying like a dress shirt or suit, are actually kind of generic. It's actually funny. It's actually, I mean, it's actually the industry that is making this up, not me. Think about it. You go inside a store. All right, you're a woman, you're buying pants. Okay. What kind of pants are you buying? Workout pants? Okay. Maybe also, you know, they'll have so many different shapes and contours, but like when it comes to men, like for example, it's like you have like small, medium, large, extra large, extra extra large. Like that's like men's sizing. What size shirt do you wear? Medium, small, large, extra large. For me, it's kind of goofy because I have to go to like those tall stores as well. But like for women, they're the sizing for women. I mean, women can have their size and still not like the clothes. Like for women, it goes beyond just the sizing of the clothes. So I guess the point I'm making is I'm very curious to see if they sent you clothes that you like, Pablo, because I haven't even when I made my bullish call on Stitch Fix, I was only basing it upon the sale to women and women's clothing. But if they do something cool for men, I would consider that a bonus. So that'll be interesting. I'm she's fine. It's just those California fires are annoying. You want Litecoin US dollar? Okay. Wow. Um, long level and take profit level. You don't want to know the long level, Ken, because I don't know when in the future. Your long level for today is $97.75. I mean, you could thank the fact that the stock went from like 100 to almost 200 and then yanked back. But right now, a very simple breakout level for you would be 160.94. That would be your breakout level, and don't hold your breath on the pullback. I'm going to need more information, meaning more days to go by before I get a better feeling on the recent breakout. Snap operations might be affected by California fires. I wouldn't take that bearishly. They're an internet company. All right, we have to use a backup server here in, Montenegro, or we're going to use a backup server in Japan, and we'll be fine, guys. I mean, it's an internet company. It's the last thing I'm concerned with them. Stitch Fix, if their warehouse went on fire, that would be a different story. They actually sell you things. Snap is a garbage, worthless company with a couple of buffoons running it. Whether you like the app or not. I've never used it. I'm sure it's good, right? That's the difference. I wouldn't approach it that way, Bubbles, but it could be a short. To me, I just talked about it bullishly. It looks bullish to me. Oh, it's on Micron, couple of days up. Let's take a look at Micron, Jason. Oof. Gee, yeah. To be bullish tomorrow, you have to hang above 44, 47. You are coming off this very deep bear flag. I guess the real question I'm asking you, is the market just going to come back up all the way back up after the recent sell-off? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not exactly bullish here in Micron, unfortunately. To me, it looks like a lot of the juice is off the table. Stock already bounced from 39.07 to 44.58. At this point, I just let it do its thing, sort of stay on the sidelines, see if it breaks out, and then buy a pullback, or see if it breaks down and then short a pop-up. That's how I approach Micron here, Jason. Pablo, so Stitch Fix asked you a bunch of questions, different colors, your style, and then they pick it for you. They make it really easy. I love the sounds of that. Sounds really good. Okay. Hey, Kenneth. Would I call that a it's a weekly candle. Would I call that bullish? It's a doji. There's too many opinions behind that. I think what I'm basically trying to say is you're asking if that doji is going to be a reversal for this formation. Um, uh, let's see. I'm already assuming that you're probably showing me the S&P 500. Is that what you're, or the Dow Jones Industrial Average? Whatever you're showing me there, that's really hard to tell. I would consider it neutral at this point and obviously very bullish overall. I wouldn't read into one candle too much. I think that's always a mistake. I think you should read more into trend lines when I, do my ultra cheap course. That would have definitely way more of an effect on your chart there. Let's see if I could download it, show it to you guys. Okay, so this is what he's showing me here. He's basically asking if this red candle here is bearish. I mean, it's a great question. I think you're putting too much emphasis on that one candle. I don't think that candle is important. I think more of trend line is important in a situation like this. I wouldn't read into that. I think if you base your information off that candle, you're dealing with a 50-50, Kenneth. I don't really have an update in sale. Other than, hey James, I don't really have an update in sale other than the fact that it just I'm just gonna buy more. Like for me, nothing really changed. I mean, I'll tell you, if this stock goes to $20 or if it goes to $10, I won't really have a fundamental update with the company if it happens in the short term. I guess I guess what I'm trying to say is I guess I sort of really laid this one out for you guys. I think they're just pretty much the best. I think they're the best internet security company on the planet in terms of profitability. I think, and they're not profitable yet. So you see the irony behind what I'm saying is I'm not saying they're the most profitable. I think they are going to be the most profitable based on their retention rate. When you create a software program, the money is making the program paying the software designers. Once you have to give out the program, it's very easy and cheap. They could do a digital download. It'll cost you pretty much nothing to send a billion copies of their software out, or one copy of their software out would probably cost, a similar amount of money, whatever server space to have a download site from, whatever. We're talking, you know, no cost whatsoever pretty much for a company of this size. So based on their retention rate and based on everything, nothing changes for me. I think this is my target personally. I'm gonna see if I could get $30 out of this thing. I'm gonna be buying more shares. If I buy enough shares and it goes to $30, it's a multi-million-dollar trade in itself with nothing else. So obviously the trade's been working for me because I'm long from lower prices. Obviously Stitch Fix is working for me, and hopefully you as well, as we're long from lower prices, and just do it like that. My email list is reserved for people who sign up for my service, so they get the constant updates and whatnot. Currently, if you are signed up for my service, just let me know, and I'll be sure to add you if I didn't. So basically, what I do is that game plan and whatnot that you got will be sent to your email every night, whether you're here or not. And also in the future, which is going to be available not for the YouTube and Facebook crew, but you're going to actually know when I'm entering these trades. You'll actually know that I bought these things or sold these things, and you'll get an alert to your phone and or email, and both. Like, you could get it done to both. That is my goal for the future of what I'm trying to do to increase the value of the service, if you will. So again, I have a lot of big plans coming up for the new year. Okay. How is Sale different than FireEye used to be? I don't know. I don't know because I never done the due diligence on FireEye. I never liked FireEye per se. And the truth is, if we were in FireEye early on the IPO first swing, we would have crushed it and hit a home run. And then obviously you see it went from 97, then it dropped all the way down here. I don't know. I never did the analysis on FireEye to tell you the difference. I mean, to me, even though you're trying to compare Internet Security Firm 1 to Internet Security Firm 2, it could be a night and day difference. You could tell me that you like a hamburger from a certain joint and a hamburger from another joint that you don't like so much. Doesn't mean all hamburgers are created equally just because they're in the same sector. I mean, obviously you know that. I was just using a very silly analogy to compare the two. But I haven't done any due diligence on FireEye to give you that sort of, this is why they're better than FireEye. I couldn't really tell you that right now. I could just tell you really why I like this at the moment and where I think this one is going. All right. And let's see. Future straight. All right. Okay. All right. So, real quick, on my 9/11 story, I'll wrap it up for you with that, as I did promise you guys. I can describe it in a minute. I was living in Manhattan, on 50 West 34th Street, on the top floor of a penthouse, the top floor of the building. It's like diagonally from the big Macy's there. And I had these huge windows, like, figure these windows were, I don't know, like 20 feet tall. Like, they were huge windows. And there was, so what I did was, from my windows, I was able to see a perfect view of the Twin Towers. They were like perfect. So I remember looking at them thinking, wow, this is so beautiful. So I left a disposable camera on the ledge. Remember back in the day when everybody's cell phone camera sucked and whatever, and people were buying little disposable cameras. So, we're talking back in, 2000 into 2001. So I left a little disposable camera there, which I never used. And I said, okay, one day I'm going to take these pictures, and I just never did it. So I woke up in the morning. I lived like 2 minutes from the trading office, walking 2 minutes. It was like a block and a half away from where I lived. So, like, it wasn't uncommon for me to be like, 8:45 making breakfast, because I would just walk to the office. And I remember I leave CNBC running on the television, and I'm making breakfast, and I hear like a plane crash into the World Trade Center, and I'm like, really? So, like, I go and I look out my window and I see, one of the towers with all this smoke coming up. I have like, by the way, I also have binoculars there, even though you didn't need them to see it. But, so I was looking at it and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And then what happened was, I was, finished eating, watching what happened, and everybody was like completely delusional to what was happening. Like, me too, myself too. What I thought was that there was an accident. It's a tall building and some idiot is in a plane and they accidentally crashed it. That was my thought initially. I mean, I was 21 years old. I was a baby, pretty much, right? I didn't have any clue what was going on. So I'm watching it and I see this other plane come and it's flying, and I'm like, again, I'm completely delusional. So I'm like, this plane must be bringing water. I don't even know that planes do that to put out fires, but maybe, the plane is bringing up like water or something to put out the fire. Like, that's where my head was going. And then it obviously, I had the window open and everything. I opened up the large window, and the plane hit the second tower, and then I felt like, literally like 15 seconds later after it hit, you figure I'm like 35 blocks away, something like that, somewhere around there from the World Trade Center. It hit 15 seconds later, I feel this heat wave like hit me in the face. Not like my skin is burning, but like extremely warm air hit me like 35 blocks away from this crash. So I'm like, oh my God. I sprint downstairs, I sprint to the trading office, and like the market was open, and I shorted, I remember, 600 shares of the triple Qs, and I made a bunch of points on them. I made like a few grand, and then I stopped and I said, what? I was so disappointed on myself. Like, after that, I was telling myself, I was like, what the hell did I do? Why the hell am I trading? What's wrong with me? Like, like, I literally had this like awakening that I thought something was really wrong with me, because while this disaster is happening, here I am trying to make money off it. And like, I felt horrible with myself. Like, I'll admit, I felt bad. I shouldn't be like, what am I doing trading? I run back to my apartment. I start gathering my things, and I'm like, we just have to get the hell out of the city. I went to the pizzeria. I picked up 4 pizza pies with me. I had no idea if we were going to eat again. Like, nobody knew what the hell was going on. I was like, are we going to have problems finding food? So I went over and I bought 4 pizza pies. right across from 35th Street. And I remember I bought like 4 pies. I gathered my brother, his now wife, me, my ex, and we jumped on a bus. And I remember I was looking for my Metro card. That's how, it's like if you're not from New York, it's a card you use to like scan in the subways or buses. And the guy's like, "Ooh," like he's just like waving me. He's like, "Get in, get in, get in, get in," like that. And I'm like, okay, free bus ride. Again, people are like not thinking correctly, myself included. So I took some phenomenal pictures of it happening. I never published them. I do have them of the World Trade Center, and basically we left. But one of the most amazing things I remember, which will stick with me probably for the rest of my life, is that when I left the trading office to go back to my apartment, get the pizza, and leave, you remember the movie Powder? Do you guys remember the movie Powder? Here, I'll show you. I'll pull it up for you guys. Like, this is the movie, like, this is the guy from the movie Powder, if you remember. Like all these electrical storms or whatever. He had telepathic and telekinetic powers. So people were walking in the street, like literally, like hundreds and hundreds of people were walking up the street from the Twin Towers up, 6th Avenue, and they all looked like powder, like from head to toe. They were covered in soot. They were covered in soot, completely covered. And I remember them walking by, everyone, like from head to toe. They look like even all their clothes were like just completely covered. They were all covered in soot, and they're all walking expressionless, not sad, not scared, obviously not happy, just walking like nothing happened, just like another day in New York, just walking by, not making eye contact with everyone, just walking, saying, okay, we're going, just walking this way. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people I saw walk by. I'm sure there were a lot more. And that's kind of weird because you never heard that story from 9/11 about the people who were around the World Trade Center and were walking uptown to get away from the disaster site. And I'll just never forget that. Completely, like, I'm fine. Like, I'm dressed normally. Like, I'm not covered in anything. I was 35 blocks away. But they were covered in soot, and they all looked like powder, from being like covered in all this like debris, whatever it is, smoke, whatever it is. And it's just something I never forget. Okay, so that was my 9/11 story. I hope you guys enjoyed the NEWSBEAT nightly trading broadcast. Happy trading, make money, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the NEWSBEAT live trading broadcast. Have a